The battle over the backyard pond. It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon, the kind where the Texas sun hangs low and the air smells of fresh-cut grass and cedar. I was out by the fence line of my 50-acre farm, hammer in one hand, wire cutters in the other, piecing together a sagging section of barbed wire. That's when I spotted her Eleanor Whitmore, the self-proclaimed guardian of Willow Creek Estates, our neighboring HOA community. She stood at the edge of her manicured lawn, clutching a bright yellow clipboard like it was a badge of authority, her oversized sunglasses glinting despite the overcast sky. Eleanor was aiming her phone toward my fishing pond with the focus of a private investigator tailing a suspect. My gut tightened. This wasn't just a nosy neighbor. This was trouble brewing. Eleanor's theatrics weren't new. For 3 years, she'd been the bane of our rural existence, turning minor gripes into full-blown crusades. My chicken coop was unsanitary. My wildflower meadow was unkempt. Now, her sights were locked on the pond where my son, Ethan, was working. Ethan, 19 and towering over me these days, was a marine biology major at the local university. That pond was where I'd taught him to fish a decade ago, back when he couldn't tell a bass from a bluegill. Now he was out there with a stranger, a tall, muscular guy with a shaved head and tattoos snaking down both arms. They were hunched over water samples and some kind of electronic gear, Ethan scribbling notes with the enthusiasm of a kid who'd found his calling. I watched them from the fence, noting the stranger's precise movements, the way he pointed out details in the water while Ethan nodded eagerly. It looked like a college project, nothing more. But Eleanor clearly saw something sinister. She'd swapped her phone for opera glasses, yes, opera glasses, and was alternating between peering through them and snapping photos. Her lips moved rapidly, likely narrating her investigation for her next-door followers. I couldn't help but chuckle at the absurdity. A woman in her 50s, dressed in yoga gear she never used for yoga, playing suburban spy over a teenager doing homework. But my amusement faded when I saw her pull out her phone again, this time to make a call. Her gestures were wild, her yellow clipboard tucked under one arm. I knew Eleanor's playbook. She didn't just complain, she escalated. She'd called code enforcement on the Millers for a slightly overgrown lawn, reported the Lopez's vegetable garden as illegal farming, and hounded the Garcias over their weekend garage sales. Now, she was targeting my son. My jaw clenched as I realized Ethan's college project was about to become her latest vendetta. By the time I headed toward the house to check on lunch, Ethan's favorite turkey sandwiches, Eleanor was in full crisis mode, pacing her lawn and gesturing dramatically. Her voice carried across the property line, words like suspicious and unknown individuals floating through the air. From the kitchen window, I could see Ethan and his mentor, still oblivious, collecting water samples with scientific precision. The stranger moved with a disciplined calm that reminded me of my own army days, guiding Ethan with a patience that felt almost fatherly. It was the kind of mentorship I'd hoped Ethan would find in college. But Eleanor's phone calls were about to turn their peaceful afternoon into a circus. At 2:47 p.m., a police cruiser rolled into my driveway. Officer Daniel Harper, young and eager, stepped out with the cautious stride of someone expecting trouble. He scanned my property, the chicken coop, the vegetable garden, the old barn, before zeroing in on Ethan and the stranger by the pond. From my vantage point, they looked exactly like what they were, a student and his mentor doing legitimate research. But the stranger's imposing build and tattoos might have raised eyebrows for someone primed by Eleanor's histrionics. Harper approached them, hand resting on his radio. "Excuse me, gentlemen," he called out, his voice firm but polite. "I received a call about suspicious activities on this property. Mind telling me what you're doing?" Ethan looked up, confusion flashing across his face. He'd never even had a speeding ticket, and now a cop was questioning his homework. He glanced at his mentor, who stood slowly, hands visible, exuding a calm that screamed military training. "Good afternoon, officer," the man said. "I'm Nathan Carter, and this is Ethan Thompson. We're conducting water quality research for a university environmental science program. I have documentation if you'd like to see it." I stepped onto the back porch, still holding a half-made sandwich and wearing my ridiculous palm tree apron, feeling like a sitcom dad in the middle of a drama. "Officer, that's my son," I called out, striding across the grass. "This is my property, and they're just doing schoolwork." Harper turned to me. clearly relieved to have the homeowner present. He explained he'd been dispatched due to reports of unknown individuals and needed to verify the situation. Nathan reached into a waterproof bag, pulling out a stack of documents, permits, university letters, even his PhD diploma from Texas A&M. Harper's eyebrows rose as he flipped through the paperwork, his initial suspicion giving way to curiosity. Nathan explained their project, studying how suburban runoff affects local water systems, with data that could influence county environmental policy. Ethan chimed in, showing his notebook filled with pH readings and organism counts. Harper was visibly impressed, but before he could ask more, his radio crackled. "Backup en route," the dispatcher announced. Harper frowned, muttering, "I didn't request backup." Sure enough, a second cruiser pulled up, carrying Officer Linda Martinez, a seasoned cop with a no-nonsense demeanor. She took one look at the scene, Nathan's research gear, Nathan's credentials, my apron, and raised an eyebrow. "Danny, what's going on here?" she asked Harper, then turned to Eleanor, who'd marched over with her clipboard. "Ma'am, can you show me the statute giving your HOA jurisdiction over private property?" Eleanor launched into a tirade, claiming Ethan and Nathan were conducting unlicensed commercial activity. She waved a pre-written email from her HOA's legal team, insisting it violated county ordinances. I felt my blood boil. "This is my son doing university research on my land," I said, my army-trained voice cutting through her nonsense. "Your HOA has no authority here, and I'm tired of your harassment." Just then, Clara Jenkins, our retired neighbor, appeared with a plate of cookies and a disarming smile. "Officers, I hope I'm not interrupting," she said sweetly. "I practiced property law for 30 years, and this woman has no legal standing." Clara's revelation hit like a bombshell, and Eleanor's composure cracked. "Mrs. Jenkins, this doesn't concern you," she snapped. But Martinez was already reviewing Nathan's permits, her expression shifting from skepticism to respect. Eleanor, undeterred, pulled out her phone and went live on Facebook. "Neighbors, I'm being harassed by county officials and these so-called researchers," she declared, her voice rising with each wild accusation. She ranted about government overreach and environmental conspiracies, her viewer count climbing as neighbors gathered to watch the spectacle. The comments section filled with criticism, and Clara shook her head, muttering about crying wolf. Martinez reviewed her body camera footage, her face hardening. "Mrs. Whitmore, this is your 12th unfounded complaint this year," she said. "You told Officer Harper to make them go away, regardless of their legitimacy. Filing false reports is a serious offense." Eleanor's eyes widened, but she doubled down, accusing everyone of a setup. That's when Nathan stepped forward, addressing her camera with calm authority. "We're conducting legitimate research to protect this community's water quality," he said. "If you'd like to learn about it, we'd be happy to explain." Ethan, gaining confidence, held up his notebook. "We found chemical levels exceeding EPA standards, but they're solvable with better practices," he said, his voice steady. The crowd's mood shifted. Neighbors started asking questions about their own yards, eager for solutions. But Eleanor wasn't done. She accused Nathan of being a threat due to his military background and aggressive demeanor. The silence that followed was deafening. Martinez's hand twitched toward her radio, and Clara's face darkened. "Eleanor Whitmore, you should be ashamed," she said. "This man served our country and is educating our kids, and you're attacking him for his appearance." My own military past made Eleanor's words sting. "Nathan has more honor than your entire clipboard collection," I said, my voice sharp. "He's teaching my son skills that benefit this community, and you're trying to criminalize him for looking different." Then came the game changer. A county vehicle pulled up, and Inspector Michael Torres stepped out, tablet in hand. He'd been called about unlicensed research and potential hazards. I gave him full access, and he spent 45 minutes inspecting Ethan and Nathan's setup, verifying their permits and methods. His verdict was clear. This research is not only legitimate but commendable. It's documenting chemical runoff from the adjacent residential area. Torres dropped a bombshell. Ethan's data showed elevated fertilizer and pesticide levels coming from Willow Creek Estate's lawn care practices. Eleanor's face went pale. Her own HOA's obsession with perfect lawns was polluting the watershed. Instead of backing down, she went live again, ranting about a conspiracy to destroy suburban property values. Her clipboard slipped, and papers scattered across my lawn. Torres picked one UPA fake environmental violation notice, dated 3 days in the future. "Mrs. Whitmore, can you explain this?" he asked, holding up the forged document. Clara examined it, her lawyer's eye catching every flaw. "This is fabricated," she said. "The letterhead's wrong, the statute's fake, and the department doesn't exist." The live stream audience, now in the hundreds, erupted in comments calling out Eleanor's fraud. Nathan delivered the final blow. "I do security consulting," he said, pulling out trail camera footage. It showed Eleanor sneaking onto my property at night, photographing Ethan's equipment to frame it as suspicious. The timestamps spanned 6 days. The neighbors gasped, and Martinez took the tablet to review the evidence. Word spread like wildfire. The Willow Creek HOA board held an emergency meeting, voting unanimously to remove Eleanor as president. Her husband, a local attorney, faced professional fallout as colleagues questioned his judgment. The next morning, someone zip-tied a yellow clipboard to the HOA sign, with "We Science Here" spray-painted beneath it. But the real victory was for Ethan and Nathan. Torres invited them to present their findings to the County Environmental Commission, recognizing their work's potential to shape policy. That evening, Ethan received an email confirming his acceptance into an NSF Research Fellowship, a dream come true. Then Nathan pulled me aside, his expression grave. "Max, there's more to this," he said. "My former commanding officer called. We weren't just studying runoff. Satellite imagery flagged unusual chemical signatures in this watershed, linked to illegal dumping by Apex Industries. Ethan's data is key evidence." As if on cue, a white van with Apex plates drove by slowly, for the 3rd time that day. Nathan snapped a photo of the license plate, explaining that companies like Apex used rural properties as dumping grounds, hiding behind legitimate operations. The pieces fell into place. Ethan's college project had uncovered a corporate crime, and Eleanor's meddling had inadvertently drawn attention to it. The van didn't return, but the sound of boots in the grass 2 nights ago told me this wasn't over. Still, we'd won this round. Eleanor's reign was finished, Ethan's future was bright, and our community was rallying around science and accountability. What do you think about this story? Have you ever faced overreach or injustice in your own community? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about standing up to bullying and protecting what matters. Your voice counts.